Hello. We are going to have some amazing fun with our fan brushes today. These are the coolest, most amazing brushes, and I'm going to tell you all about them today. Hi, I'm Silka. Oh, I'm off screen. Hello. I'm Silka, Heart for Art. I teach people step by step how to paint online and in my studio. Welcome to this week's Hearty Tips with Silka. Let me just go up a little bit so you can see me. Hello. I'm going to show you how to use my absolute favorite brush, the fan brush. This is a fan brush. It's got blue paint on it. It's one of the brushes that people are attracted to purely because it's got an awesome shape, but also find it a little bit daunting and maybe you're a little bit nervous to try it. But once you know the basics of how to use it, it is honestly the most fun brush to use, and you can get some really cool, amazing brush strokes and effects with it, and you can get them really quickly too and easily. So I'm going to show you how to use it today, and I'm going to show you some things you can create. I'm going to show you how to paint real quick trees, flowers, grass, water, waterfalls. What else am I showing you? And other textures, fur, hair, just lots of stuff. So if you have always wanted to know how to use a fan brush, this is for you today. Now, the reason I'm sharing this with you today is because I had dinner with a friend last week, and she asked me to help her buy art supplies for her daughter. So we went shopping after dinner, and like most people, I gave her some advice on what to get. And like most people, she was attracted to the fan brush because it's cool. It's just an awesome brush. But she did admit that her daughter wouldn't know how to use it. Her daughter's 7. I won't say who it was in case her daughter's watching, but hi, you know who I am, who I'm talking about. But yeah, she admitted her daughter wouldn't know how to use it, and most people don't, and it made me think that lots of people may have one of these in their collection. You might have one. Have you got one? Have you got a fan brush and you've never used it? Let me know. And the only reason you haven't used it is because you don't know quite how to use it or how to get effects with it. So there are lots of types of fan brushes. Here's a clean one. This is a bristle, a hog bristle. I think this one is. It is hog bristle. So it's a nice thick textured one, but you can also get synthetic ones. These are much softer, much softer. Like when you touch it to your skin, it's just deliciously soft. And if you actually Google fan brush, you'll get makeup brushes. And I have to admit, I have painted with makeup brushes because they're so soft and delicious. But for today's purposes, I'm gonna demonstrate with a bristle brush because I love a bit of texture. If you painted with me before, you know that I like a bit of texture. So, but there are different types of brushes and different sizes as well. But I'm not going to get into that today. Today, I want to more show you. I want to show you what you can do with your fan brushes. All right. If you want a little bit more detail about brush types and brush sizes, I have done a blog on that. It's called Types of Brushes and Their Uses. So head on over to my website, click on blog in the menu, and you can find that one. It tells you all about different types of brushes and sizes and all the differences and bristles and stuff like that. But today I'm just going to show you how to use your fan brush. Say hi as you come on. Let me know if you're watching live or on the replay. So a fan brush operates a little bit differently to most brushes because, as you can see, it's got that beautiful curve on top. I'll show you with a clean brush, the blue brush there. I've been having a play already. So it's got that beautiful curve on top, and that helps to give you a lot of really fun, cool effects. All right. And that's what makes it so awesome and gives it awesome effects. I'll show you soon. But it's not a brush. Hi, Pam. It's not a brush for doing large coverage. So you're not going to be painting full backgrounds with this brush. This is a detail brush, all right? So you paint your background. Hello, Dawn. I learned so much from you. Oh, yay. I'm so pleased, Dawn. That's my goal in life, to make art fun for everyone. So yes, this is a detail brush, all right? And it's super versatile as well. Just by varying the pressure of the brush, how much pressure you put on the brush and the different angles that you hold the brush, Also the stroke length, whether you do short strokes or long strokes, you can get a ton of different effects just with this one brush. All right. And the joy of this brush, oh, Pam bought a fan brush today. Oh, Pam, you can have some fun practicing when we're done here. I'm going to show you loads of fun stuff to try out today. But for me, the joy of this brush is the separation of the bristles. Can you see? Can I hold it up close? So you see how there's gaps between the bristles? All right. That basically just opens up a whole new world of painting and it's going to give you a ton of different textures and styles. And I'm going to show you. But because of those separated bristles, it is important how you load your brush. And when I say load your brush, as in how much paint you put on your brush, okay? Because that will have an effect on the different effects that you can have. You never really have to have too much paint on one of these brushes, because, you know, it's important if you want to get the proper effects, it's important to keep the bristles separated. Got to keep them separated. You sing along if you know the song. Sorry, got distracted. I like music. So if you put too much paint on, you're essentially just going to have a big clump of paint, and you may as well just have a normal paintbrush. So that the goal is to keep the bristles separated so you can get some amazing texture. So I'm going to show you. I'm going to demonstrate some trees and some grass and some flowers and some water. What else? A waterfall and just loads of other stuff. All right. So let me switch around a bit. You see that? All right, there we go. All right, so I've already got a blue one there, so let me go with that one. Actually, I might give it a clean. I'll use a different one. I'm going to show you some trees, all right? Some really quick, simple, easy trees, okay? So what I said before about keeping the bristles separated, I'll just dip my brush in water, and I'm just going to thin the paint a little bit, not too much. And I'm not going to put too much paint on my brush, all right? You really don't need much, okay? So I'm going to start by showing you a simple pine tree, all right? So you got your base of where your pine tree is, and then all you're doing really is just kind of adding bristles. Can you see that all right? It's not too small. You're just doing really light taps with the very tip of your brush and just sort of building it up. You know, and you don't want to have them all sort of the same length. You want some shorter, some longer, and we just sort of do one that way, some shorter, some longer, and you're basically just doing a really simple, easy tree. And I'm just using the very tip of my brush and just doing really light little taps. All right. If you press too hard, you'll get a whole different effect. We'll do that soon at some point. So I'm doing some long, some short, and just like that, I've got myself a pine tree. Easy. And I wanted to start with that because it's nearly Christmas, and I've been seeing photos on people's Facebook pages of their Christmas trees. So I thought I'll start with the pine tree. But when you're painting, it's always good to have a bit of contrast. All right. So I've done my dark green, and now I'm going to switch to light green. And again, you want to make sure your bristles aren't clumped together. So you can see it's just one large clump there. If I tap that, I may as well be using a normal paintbrush. So if that happens, you can either thin your paint a little bit or just tap it lightly on a rag, and you can see that it's now the tips of my bristles are a little bit further separated, and that's going to give me a little bit more texture with my brush. And I'm just going to add some green on there, and we now have ourselves a beautiful pine tree. The top's a bit off. There we go. It needs a peak, doesn't it? Pine trees need a little peak on top. There we go. So now I've added a little bit of green, making sure that my bristles aren't too clumped together. So that gives it a nice bit of contrast, a bit of light and a bit of dark. As Bob Ross says, you need the dark to bring out the light. So there we now have a pine tree with a bit of light and a bit of dark. I don't know that my green is that different with my light green and my dark green. But if you are watching somewhere from the other side of the world, and I mean, here in New Zealand, we have sunshine and summer for Christmas. If you're watching from somewhere else in the world, it may be snowing. So I'm just going to take a little bit of white. So like right on the very tip of my brush, you can see there, I've added some white. Oh, hang on, wrong angle. Hi, Leah. a little bit of white, and I'm just going to tap that right on the tops. Now the white's going to be overpowered a little bit by the darker color underneath, so I'm just going to tap and use a little bit more and just tap a little bit of white on top of each branch, and just like that we have a snowy Christmas tree. And look how easy that was. How long did that take me? Like 30 seconds. And of course you do a few more, you've got a whole Christmas scene. Putting a little bit of snow on. I suppose snow would land on top as well, wouldn't it? Now you can use just one bristle if you just, use one toe of the brush. This is a toe of the brush as well. So you can, if you want to just go a little bit more detail, you can just use one toe of your brush. So there we have a snowy Christmas tree. Look at that. How easy was that? And it took me like 30 seconds to do. Cool, eh? If you have a darker background, obviously your snow's going to show up a bit more. I should have probably painted it on a blue background to show you. But that's just how easy it is. So that's a Christmas tree. A Christmas tree, pine tree. If you're watching this like in May, later on replay, we're not putting the Christmas trees up now. I promise. Okay, so I'm going to clean my brush, and now I'm going to show you how to do a Pohutukawa tree. All right. I just wanted to get the white off. So you can see when the brush is wet, it really separates quite nicely. So that's what we're going for. So I'm going to just get a little bit of the green and just make sure that my bristles are still nice and separated. They're a little bit clumpy there. So I'm just going to tap a little bit of paint off because I want those separations to happen. All right. Can I have a Pohutukawa tree next to a... I could. Yeah, I could have a Pohutukawa tree next to it. Christmas tree. So what I'm going to do is, again, I'm just going to use the very tip of my brush, but I'm going to angle my brush down a little bit further, so a little bit more of each stroke gets on there. So you can see as I tap, there's a little bit more of the brush touching the canvas rather than just the vertical taps I was doing before. And I'm just going to keep tapping and create some clumps. Just light little dabs and create some clumps of tree. So it's a Pohutukawa tree. So if you're in New Zealand, you'll know that this is our New Zealand Christmas tree. And I'm just going to keep layering them. And again, you can see there I had a big dollop of paint where my bristles were not separated. Not a drama if you do it, but that's what happens when you have a dollop of paint and you put too much paint on your fan brush, and the bristles are not separated. You don't get that lovely texture that you can see with all the separated brush strokes. Let me finish that sentence. I always get carried away when I'm painting because I just love it so much. So that's just a quick top of your Pohutukawa tree. You can create the whole tree and then put a trunk underneath. Nice and simple. All right. So I'm going to add some light. So I'm just going to clean my brush, get the dark green off, and I'm going to add some highlights with the light yellow. So again, a little bit of water just to thin it and keep my bristles a bit separated, and I'm just going to add some light touches in there just to make it a little bit contrasty, just like that. So that's the top of a Pohutukawa tree. So obviously you do a whole tree, but that's just the top of a tree. It could be any tree, but for me, I like a Pohutukawa tree. So, and mine are just about to go and bloom. Well, they're just starting. They're just starting. And of course, if you want to add some blossoms, if you want to have a blooming Pohutukawa tree or any other tree, doesn't have to be Pohutukawa. Hang on, I need red then, don't I? For Pohutukawa blossoms, I've got my red on my palette. You can do some nice, quick, easy flowers with some blossoms. So you just put a little bit of red on, and again, making sure that your bristles are separated. So there I've got a massive clump right in the middle. So that's just going to give me one massive clump. So I don't want that. So I'm just going to dab till they separate a little bit. There we go. Or I can dip in water and thin my paint. That's probably the easier way to do it. But you want to make sure your bristles are a little bit more separated there. And then a light, easy tap, 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 tap with the very tip of your brush. You want to mimic that curve. So you want the brush on a bit of an angle, not straight down. And we just do a light tap, and just like that, our Pohutukawa tree is now in bloom. Because my green is still wet, I'm picking a little bit of it up. You can wait till later to put this on, but I do like the colours to blend together a little bit. And you can put a few sort of out there. And just like that, we have a purikawa tree in bloom. How's that? And again, that took me, what, 30 seconds. Yay, purikawa trees, Christmas. Awesome. All right. And if you just want to do like a generic tree, I mean, I'm no ace gardener. I don't entirely know what all the trees are called. I know what my favorite trees are on the basics. But if you just want to do a generic tree, again, you put a bit of paint on your brush and holding it again perpendicular to your canvas, so straight opposite your canvas, same as we did for the pine tree. You can just sort of do a few up and down dabs and just create a few trees. You know, just keep adding the branches. You can do them in a curved shape, curve them up if you want. This one's going to be right on top of my purikawa tree, and it's lots of light little dabs, and you can just build your tree up. And again, we want to add some contrast, but if you do a few of these next to each other, you can have yourself a nice little forest. And I'm just using the very tip of my brush to just tap these in. It's getting to be quite a big tree that needs a trim as does most of the weeds in my garden. And again, I'm going to switch to a darker green and just add some contrast in here just to make it a little bit more interesting. You can go in with a thinner brush and put branches in if you want. But yeah, you just get a nice, easy, simple tree like that. Simple as. You can even add some highlights. When you're painting though, you want to, if you're going from a dark color to a light color, you do want to just clean your brush in between, because the darker color will totally overpower the lighter colors. So I'm just going to add some little dips of yellow in there just to, again, mix it up. And this will be where the sun's hitting on that side, just to add a little bit more contrast to it. And then you can add some flowers as well. So again, a nice, simple, easy tree. Voila. Put a load of those next to each other and you have a forest. Awesome. And again, that was like 20 seconds. It was even faster. You can do it. You can do a simple forest if you want to. You know, you just get some green and just do a whole bunch of trees next to each other. I haven't gone off screen. No, good. Just using the tip of your brush, just tapping very gently. You can just add, build up one tree and then build up another tree next to it. It is key to not have them all the same height though, because they do look a little bit odd when they're all the same height. They're getting fatter at the bottom. All I'm doing is just lots of little taps using the tip of my brush to get that nice sort of stipple effect, making the trees a little bit fatter at the bottom. And then I'm going to just wipe the green off. You can clean your brush, or actually I might clean it because I want to go lighter now. So I'm going to clean and dry my brush, and then I'm going to add some lighter green at the top, some little taps of light green, maybe in the middle. And when you build it all up like this, you have sort of an impressionist style forest. I don't want to go over my pine tree. So it gives the illusion of a forest. Maybe you can put some, some white highlights on as well if you want some snow on there, or just some lighter patches. But there, it's an impressionist forest then. So you do that across your whole canvas, along the bottom maybe, or behind a river or something, and then you've got yourself a nice forest. So maybe you do a combination of these. This is the strangest combination of forest trees I've seen so far. But yeah, that's how simple it is. I've just shown you 4 different trees, all with the same brush. So nice and easy. Yeah, I'm going to give that brush a clean, and now I'm going to show you some grass. I should have put my trees higher, because then I could put the grass underneath. But today's not about creating a beautiful portrait or painting, rather. It's about showing you how to do some easy, simple things. So I'm going to go like this. And now I'm going to show you some grass. So I've got a clean brush. All right. I'm going to get my green and I'm just going to thin it a little bit again. Remember, you don't need to put much paint on your brush. The joy of this brush is having those separated bristles to get that nice effect. All right. So just doing some quick short grass. Again, it's just slight angle. You can do it straight on, but a slight angle will give you slightly longer grass, and you just lightly tap and overlap them. You can do like little short strokes if you want to, or just like taps. All right, so this gives a nice grass texture. And then again, you want to add a little bit of contrast. So you add a little bit of dark green, and you just sort of overlap those strokes. And this is going to give you short grass. All right, just light little taps or short strokes, and that's going to create that grassy texture. I'm just going to add some yellow just to lighten it up and make it a little bit more interesting. The more shades of a color you use, the more contrast you create and the more depth you create as well. So this is just like not like my lawn, which is long and not mowed very often, but this is like short grass here now. All right. I have actually done a blog on how to paint grass, short, medium, and long. So if you want a little bit more on that, you can go and watch that on our website. So that's just lots of short little strokes. You can do it the other way if you want. Go up, and bring the grass out the top. Up to you. If you want longer grass, again, you're just going to use the toe of your brush and you're going to do gentle curves. All right. I'm going to do this a little bit darker just so you can see it. Oh, I haven't got a darker. I'll use the dark green. All right. So again, just thinning it a little bit. So if you want really nice fine grass, you really want to make sure that your bristles are nicely separated. All right. And then we're just going to do a really light touch. All right. And we're just going to nice long sort of strokes, and you can get some nice grass happening there. All right. Maybe I'll put some light green in as well. Nice long strokes over the top of each other. If you want like individual, you want to actually get nice refined individual strokes, you've got to make sure your paint is a good fluid, has good fluidity to it. If it's quite thick, you're not going to get a nice fine line. So then you want to just nice long strokes, long, soft, gentle strokes. You can go up or down, it doesn't really matter. And you'll get every stroke will create some grass for you. Nice long, and I'm going to add some light green to there. I'm just going to thin that a little bit so that I get more refined strokes. So the more fluid your paint is, the easier it is to control, and the better sort of lines you'll get, the cleaner lines you'll get. So this is longer grass, so you can have, oh, this is quite calming. So this is more like my lawn that doesn't get mowed very often. It gets really long. And you sort of overlap your strokes, build them up, and then you've got some longer grass. So here you can see, oops, I just grabbed into my tree. Here you can see where I haven't thinned it as much, and you get a sort of a nice dry brush effect happening on the edges there, which is quite nice as well, if that's what you're going for. If you want it to be a little bit more refined, thin your paint a little bit more, and then you want to build it up, build some layers, do some shorter ones underneath, and just sort of build them up on top of each other like that. There you go. And then make sure not to grab my pine tree again. So there you go, you see. And if you let it dry and put another coat on top, even better. So that is slightly longer grass. I don't have any black. Let me just grab some black. If you want to, actually, will I do it? And I'm making this up a little bit as I go along. I've got some notes of what I wanted to show you, but I've just changed my mind. I was going to show you a silhouette, but I think I'm going to change my mind. And I'm going to show you a toy now. So once you've got your leaves there, I'm just going to clean my brush again. I'm switching colours. So our lovely toy, I'm going to thin that a little bit so that I've got my bristles separated. They're still a bit clumped, so I'm just going to tap lightly to separate them. And then you can use this brush or another brush, and I'm just going to go up, like so. I've got it on a perpendicular to the canvas, straight up and down pretty much, and I'm using the side profile of the brush. So I'm using it on its narrow edge, and I'm going to go up and then out, and I'm just going to do lots of little fluffs like that. Like I said, you can use a liner brush if you want to get a better effect on your toy. As in, like, where is one? I've got 100 brushes here. You can do this bit with a liner brush to get a cleaner edge. There we go. Now we've got a cleaner edge, and then use your fan brush to get the actual toyness. I'm sure that's what it's called. And if you want to just add a little bit of extra white just for a bit more definition, or a bit of yellow maybe, and just sort of overlap those colors. Oh, I've got a stray bristle on that one. And just sort of curve and pull those colors into each other to create that toy fluffiness that we love, you know. And you can just keep layering the colors if you want. If it's too dark, you put a bit more white on. If it's too light, you put a bit more brown on, add a bit of yellow in there. But again, you can just keep layering it until you're happy. And then maybe even add a bit of a shadow down this side. There you go. And just like that, you can clean up the top edge with a little brush if you need to. But just like that, we've got a toy. You can do it with slightly thinner paint as well. So I'll do the stem here, and then thin my paint nicely, dipping my brush in water. You don't want to go too thin though, because then it's just going to run down your canvas. So you want it thin enough that you're getting your bristles separated. All right, and then you just sort of line it up with your stem and just curl it out. All right, so curl it out like that. You don't have to use the whole brush if you don't want to. Just sort of lots of light little curls like that. So there's your toy again. All right, so that's just the one in one color. Again, nice and easy. Do some in different directions and different heights, and that'll look really cool. Lovely. And just so quick to do, which is awesome. So if you want to do like, so this is sort of individual blades of grass there. If you want to do sort of more fuller grass, this is a weird landscape now. It's got toys, short grass, long grass, all sorts of trees. Where can I put some longer grass? I'm going to put it on top of here. It's going to look a bit weird. But if you want a bit sort of more fuller grass, you're basically still using your brush on the side profile. And by that, I mean you're using it like not on its full width, but on the narrow width. All right, can you see that? Where's the contrast? So not on the full width, but you're turning it and using the brush on its side width. All right. So if you want some fuller grass, you basically do your strokes and just sort of twist it slightly as you're painting. Sort of pull and twist, and you'll get some nice, beautiful textures happening. And then you can use a bit of light green as well. So you go up and twist, So you do it. You're using your full width of the brush and then twisting into a single column, if you like, not column, single blade of grass, and vice versa. And you're just overlapping those, and that will give you a fuller coverage. I can add some yellow in just to add a bit of contrast here, and you're sort of twisting up and starting and twisting, and Does that make sense? Is that making sense? Am I explaining that well? I just do it out of instinct because I've done it for years. So I do hope I'm explaining that well. So start like on using the full width of the brush, and as you go up, you twist to a narrow width. All right. So let me show you just one somewhere. So you start like that and then turn up. All right. Do it with a dark green. Start like that and turn up and go the other way. Or the other way around, you start on a narrow and then twist to open it up at the top. So start on a narrow and twist and open it up at the top. And then when you layer a lot of these full width, skinny, full width to skinny, and then skinny to full width, missed. When you layer them all on top of each other, you'll get a nice full coverage, as you can see that I achieved really quickly down the bottom. So it's just about sort of twisting the brush in different directions and using again the contrast of colors, you know, some light, some dark, and just twisting that brush as you go to create all the different textures and directions of your grasses, and just keeping on layering. I'm alternating colors. I don't know if you can see that. I'm alternating with a bit of dark green, a bit of light green, just twisting in different directions until I've got a complete full coverage and I'm happy. And then once you've got your background done, you can do some shorter ones in the front, all still just twisting in different directions. And you can see as I'm doing this, it's adding the texture as I go. And it's just so easy. I'll add some white just to give a bit of contrast so you can see what's happening. A bit of yellow, and you can play with this brush forever. It's so fun. So I'll show you that all a little bit closer up. So here you can see it was just with the long twisting strokes, and then you can see where I've added another layer a little bit shorter on top. You can do it. It's better to do that while the paint at the back is still dry, because the last brush stroke you do will look like it's in front. If you try and paint on top, you will see the brush strokes of the original, you know, the first ones you did underneath. All right. Does that all make sense? Yay. So that's all the grasses, different types of grasses. Now let's do some flowers. I'm going to need another canvas, I think. I didn't bring another one, did I? Oh, I'm bound to be able to find one here somewhere. All right, let's do some flowers now. We clean my brush. There's grasses and trees. All right. So I've already shown you how to just add quick flowers to a tree. Okay, the tree's back to front or sideways. So this is just adding quick flowers onto a tree. That's just some nice little yellow, red flowers there. But you can create one blossom. What color shall I do it? Purple. I haven't used purple yet. Let's do purple. You can create one blossom with one tap of your brush. All right. So I'm going to just get it thin enough so that my bristles separate. Doesn't have to be too bad. Okay, I'm just going to show you something else while we're here. I don't know if you can see that, but I've got one stray bristle. Can you see that? They're there, right there. I need to put it on a dark background. I've got one stray bristle right there sticking out. Can you see that? Sometimes they do that. There are ways to fix your brushes, and I've done a brush care blog as well, but the really quick way, get a pair of scissors and just snip it off. There we go. Give your brush a trim. Hello, Ellen. Oh, you're in Melbourne. Hey, you made it. Hi, Ellen. Hi, Ellen in Melbourne. Yeah, you made it there. Good on you. Thanks for joining me. Good to see you, Ellen. Ellen was in Wellington. Now she's in Melbourne. I'm so pleased you finally made it. All right, so this one, I've loaded my brush with purple. I made sure my bristles are separated. And I'm just going to put a blossom here. And I'm going to use the full flat of the brush this time. I'm going to lay the brush flat, one touch on my canvas. Boom. I have a blossom just like that. All right, so I can do a couple more. making sure that there's enough paint on my brush. We can put another one there. All right. Just put it on twice to get a bit more coverage. And then I can grab another color. Oh, not green. I'm going to grab some crimson, and I'm just going to put some crimson touches on the ends. Look at that. I didn't quite get crimson on all my brush. So I can just put some little crimson dots on the ends. So just like that, we have some really pretty flowers. And if you do a few more of those, you know, you can create yourself a nice flowery painting. Where's my little liner brush gone? Here it is. Pop some, you know, just a quick little bit on the end and a bit of a stem. I mean, my placement wasn't that well thought of because I'm holding the canvas upside down. I'm not going that way. And just like that, you've got some quick, easy flowers. And that was just one touch with the brush. And then another color on top. That simple. Actually, I might do a crimson one. So I'll get another bit of crimson, making sure that my bristles are separated. So if they're not, just thin the paint a little bit with water. If that's still not working, remember a light tap on your rag, and then holding it completely flat to the canvas, lay it on, and you have another flower. Look at that. We'll put another one down here. Lovely. And then I'm going to put some yellow pops on top. Nice bright yellow on top. Easy. That's almost a carnation, that one. Lovely. And then we get the liner brush. We add ourselves a stem on the bottom. Oh, that's a different green. And we have ourselves another flower. So easy, right? So much fun, so easy. Combine a few of those in different colors together. You'll have yourself a nice bouquet. Awesome. So I showed you how to paint the Putakawa tree there. Now, some of you, Ellen, have you painted the Putakawa? I can't remember. I've got a Putakawa Power painting, which is actually available online if you want to paint that one as an on-demand. But this one is so fun as well. So I'm just going to use a bit of red. I'm going to thin it a little bit, keeping my bristles nicely separated. All right. And then, oh, where should I put my Putakawa? Over here. So this is one where we're just going to do very light strokes using the very tip of our brush, not quite straight up, but on a bit of an angle. And we're just going to slowly build them up and bring them together to create our blossom shape. All right. Now I think there's a big brushy plant in my garden as well that has a really cool flower that's sort of a big sort of brush type thing. I'm going to want some dark red as well. It's the other red. So I've just created. Okay, it's coming this way. You know, you're not in my head, so I feel I have to explain that. So that's just a bit of light red, and then I'm going to add a bit of darker red at the bottom. Not too thin, so it runs off the canvas. But I'm just going to darken it up a little bit at the bottom. There we go. The idea is to keep that nice fluffy texture at the top there. I'll hold it closer to you in a minute. And as you can see, I've just turned my brush sideways. If you want one bristle stroke, you know, you still can. So I'm just going to clean up that outer edge with one stroke there. And I've just added a little bit of darker at the bottom. You can add a bit of blue, a bit of black if you want to darken it a little bit more. And then maybe we'll do some nice yellow pops, little touches of yellow on the ends. There we go. And of course you can add your quick stem on the bottom. Boom. Just like that, we have a Putakawa blossom. Look at that. Put it the right way up. It's very simple, quick, easy Putakawa blossom with your fan brush. I mean, how much fun is that? Yay. Cool. I love painting Purdycoa blossoms. You can tell, can't you? I've just painted a tree and okay. Lavender. Let's do some lavender now. This one is also nice and easy. Can you use that for a cat here? Yes, Leah. Yes, I'm going to get to fur in a minute. I'm going to do some flowers first, but I will get to fur. We can use it for cat hair. Absolutely, it's perfect for that. I'm still on flowers though. I'll finish the flowers and then we'll get to that. So I'm just going to use a bit of purple. Where can we put some lavender? Okay. Using my brush on a side profile, perpendicular, just going to tap the very ends on the canvas and we can create some nice, quick, easy lavender. Look at that. Lots of little taps. It's a little bit narrower at the top, aren't they? A little bit narrower at the top. Another one there. That one might bend slightly that way. I mean, that's just one color. And again, you get your liner brush. And you can add a stalk at the bottom. Oh, okay. A bit wobbly today. You can add your stalks at the bottom. Oh, that one's a bit big. And you can just build your lavender up as you go. They're a bit fatter at the bottom, aren't they? Yeah, there you go. Maybe even add some little pops of crimson in there if you want to, or even little pops of white. But there we have our lavender. Nice and quick and easy. That one's much taller and it's going into the other plant. But just like that, lavender. That right there. Easy. And again, only seconds. So quick and easy to get awesome results with this brush. And if you've got some grass, you want to add some flowers in your grass. What colors of flower in grass? Can you have purple flowers in the grass? You just light little taps with the very tip of your brush, whatever color you want. Light little taps. You just add flowers. Look at that. I'm going to put some yellow flowers in too. Light little taps with the tip of your brush, making sure, and some red, making sure that your bristles are separated. Here we go. Nice little taps. And just like that, we've got a flower-filled grass. Yay. And so easy. I mean, this is a strange composition that I'm working on here, purely to demonstrate all the different things you can do. But, if you plan a proper composition or just do flowers and not all the bits that I'm putting in, you'll get some really lovely, lovely results. Okay, so I'm going to show you draping flowers. You can drape the flowers too. I'm going to need another canvas, aren't I? You can drape flowers. Let me show you. Let's do some purple. Like when you've got a hanging wall, like when flowers hang down a wall, like in Greece where they have those red flowers and stuff, and they just hang off a wall. You can totally do that. I'm just going to pick a whole bunch of different colors here. And just so the wall's at the top and the flowers just sort of hang down. And again, I'm just using the tip of my brush, just lightly tapping, just building my flowers up. Maybe some red as well, some bright pops of red in there. These are interesting colored flowers, and you can just sort of hang the flowers off the wall. A strange collection of colors. I would love a plant that did this. Just sort of build them up and hang them down. Drape your flowers, and then you pop a bit of green in for your leaves as well, just in between. I'm just giving that a clean in between because sometimes colors, when you mix them, when you don't clean your brushes in between, you might get an odd combination of colors mixing and you end up with a bit of a mud color. So just adding a bit of green in there like that. Maybe some green leaves growing out that way, a bit of green on top for the leaves. I mean, I'm doing this very quickly, just to show you how easy it is. If you take a little bit more time about it and be a little bit more deliberate about your strokes, you can get some really awesome results. So let me show you imagine there's a wall under there and no strange giant putakawa sticking out. This is sort of draped off a wall or a fence or something. You can drape your plants as well, your flowers, any color you like. So that's a nice and easy way to do some flowers as well. And of course, the same way we did the flowers there, the lavender, you can have a whole, just a little garden of standing flowers. Where will we put those? You can just do lots of little different colored ones all next to each other. Maybe a red one. Lots of little standing flowers. And then we can put our blossoms, our stems on underneath. So the crimson, nice crimson. Oh, let's do a purple one as well. See, I'm having fun now. And I'm just using the tip of my brush, lightly tapping. Do let me know if I'm not explaining something well, because I get carried away just because I'm enjoying myself. And I forget that you're there sometimes because painting is like that, you get lost in it. It's awesome. And then you can add your stems on the bottom, and you've got yourself a nice little bouquet of flowers there as well. All right. So it's just similar to the lavender, just a nice little bouquet of standing flowers there. Okay. Leah says she remembers the flowers. Flowers are always cool to paint, aren't they, Leah? All right, so that's trees and grass and flowers. I want to show you some different techniques with water as well. I'm going to grab a canvas pad because I've run out of space on here. Where's my canvas pad? Bear with me for a second. Or another blank canvas. You'd think I'd have a ton of blank canvases handy, but they're all upstairs. Where's here it is. It's still here from when I painted, when I showed you how to paint flowers the other day. That is, will be on my blog at some point as well. So let me just move that out of the way. And I will show you, get the flowers out of the way. So this is just a canvas pad. So these are, if you want to just practice, these are awesome for practice because it's the same texture as canvas. So it'll have the exact same result as if you painted it on a framed canvas. But it's a lot cheaper. I think I paid like $6 for this. It's got 10 sheets, and you can just have a bit of fun, and you can use both sides. All right. In fact, I will use another one. Here's where I showed you how to paint houses on hills. So I'm going to tear that off, and I'm going to use the other side. So this is a really awesome, inexpensive way to practice just with canvas pad. All right, so extra little tip there for you. Okay, so water. Let's start with some rain. Yay, I'm going to clean my brush. I'm going to paint myself a cloud first because you can't have rain without a cloud. What color will I do? I'll do it a nice dark blue so you can see it. All right, so I'm just going to paint a cloud first. A bit of water in there. Paint the cloud first. Actually, this isn't primed. I just realized. Okay, there's my cloud, bit of white, and my cloud. Although, no, a cloud with rain in it would be a bit grayer, wouldn't it? And then I'm going to thin my my blue, and I'm just going to do really light touches, really light touches to just create that rain. All right, sort of broken strokes, maybe even. Okay, hold the line, please, caller. This is not primed, so it's not working as well as a proper canvas will. Let me find one, two. Here we go. Here's one. Actually, I might use that one. I've got so many canvases to choose from. Okay, I'm going to use this one here. I believe that has a Hotokawa tree under it already. Okay, let me do that again. This has been properly primed. That's basically raw canvas that I was using the back of that. So if you want raw canvas that hasn't been primed, then flip your canvas sheets over. But this will work better as to how. We'll put our little cloud up here. A little bit of lighter color on top. And then I'm thinning that blue a little bit. You can use any color you want. And then making sure my bristles are a little bit separated. And I'm going to really, really light touch. I'm just going to bring a few strokes down underneath. Really light touch. Break them up a little bit and overlap them so they're not just complete lines all the way under, and just keep filling them in until you're happy with how much rain you've got. So just like that, we have rain. Yay. I feel like I need a bit darker on the bottom of that cloud, because clouds are darker when they have rain in them, aren't they? Oh, black there. So with my blue, so it's not a solid black, I'm just going to flip it upside down. It doesn't matter which way you work with your fan brush. Sometimes it's easier to do it upside down. I'm going to put a little bit of that dark color in as well. Just really, really light touch. I feel like my cloud needs to be bigger. Yeah. Here we go. We have rain. Strange Acme rain. You know that rain that only rains in one place. There we go. Easy. And the thinner you get your paint and the lighter your touch, the more refined your rain will be. Okay, so also on the water theme still, you can do waterfalls. I have had a request for a waterfall painting, so I will do one at some point. This is essentially where you want to, you use the tip of your brush and you want to sort of curve into your stroke. So imagine the water runs along the river and then it drops down. So you want your brush to do the same thing, all right? So your brush will go along the side of the river and then come down, all right? And again, you just keep overlapping, so down, going, so using the side profile of the brush first where the water comes in, and then the water goes down, all right? And you can just keep adding strokes on depending on how, whoops, I've just smudged that, how wide or how, deep you want your waterfall to be. Keep adding strokes, and that gives you a beautiful watery texture. You can see, and that's all I've done is just with the blue so far. All right, nice and easy. I did smudge it a little bit at the bottom, which is my boo-boo. Oh, let's see, there it is. I've got waterfall on my finger. But again, it's really key to make sure that your paint is nice and fluid. We just make it a little bit of a taller waterfall. Look at that. We'll go a little bit taller. And just brush that on. And then once you've got enough water in place, you can use just the side of your brush if you just want to do a little bit on that side. But the key is to have it going across and then down so that the brush stroke sort of follows the line of the water. And then you can just dab a little bit of white in and just sort of pull that in as well. And that will really highlight and accentuate. And you pull those colors together, and that will give you a beautiful sort of waterfally texture. Waterfally, there's a word for you, waterfally. I bet that's in the dictionary. And again, I'm going across and down. All right, so this is a really basic, simple waterfall. But you can see already, all I've done is some blue strokes and some white strokes over the top. And I've already got what looks like running water down a waterfall. How are we liking that? I would spend some time putting some rocks and things around it and filling the whole water in, but just for the purposes of showing you today, I'm now going to dab some white on my brush without cleaning my brush, and I'm just going to do some sort of froth at the bottom where, when the water smashes into the bottom and froths up and gets all fluffy. You can add a little bit across the top as well if you want to. But there you've got, you know, your waterfall all frothy at the bottom, just like that. So really, really simple. That was, I mean, it's a very simple, quick one. If you spend a little bit more time, you can see how easy it is to get that waterfall effect. So we've got rain, we've got a waterfall, waves. We do some waves. I've just created a brand new sunset wave painting, which I cannot wait to teach. Super easy, super fun, and not actually using a fan brush because it's a much bigger wave. Remember, this is for detail work, not for large coverage areas. So another way, you can get some nice abstract waves. Just, again, thinning your paint enough that your bristles are nice and separated. If they're too close, you just dab on your brush, and you can get some nice abstract ones, just doing some curves, you know, overlapping curves like that. I'm turning my brush around because if my brush runs out of paint on one side, I'm just going to grab the paint off the other side of the brush, right? So I'm just overlapping, and you can get some really nice, interesting textures there. If I add another blue, you know, we can just, we build up, maybe add a yellow, we build up our wave, just overlapping those colors to a nice abstract sort of bit of white. We can just keep overlapping, and just remembering also that the last stroke you do will be the one that looks like it's in front. So this is a really abstract sort of waves or any kind of sort of texture. The more colors you use, the more interesting it's going to be. All right, so that's abstract waves. You can also do some nice curvy waves. Get me some more blue, nice and thinned, so that my bristles are separated. That's quite key. And then you can just do a really nice, now you want to hold your brush. If you just want to use a few bristles, just hold it straight up and down. Gosh, look at me, what a mess, what a grub. Hold it straight up and down and just use the tip. If you want more bristles, you're going to hold it a little bit more angled towards your canvas. So then you can just do some really nice light curvy lines like that. And you'll see the difference in pressure there, just with one stroke. I did that with one stroke. Isn't that just stunning? With one stroke, we've got all those differences in thicknesses and thinnesses, and it just looks, oh, I love this brush. It's so cool. So if I do another one, all right, I'll do another one here. Again, we want to make sure that our bristles are not clumped together. The more separated they are, the more interesting your brush stroke will be. So I'm holding it slightly angled. I'll do another one. Different pressures. Gives you all those different textures. All right. You can then overlap with another stroke slightly different if you want to, and just sort of keep building it up, or put a different color in. Let's just chuck some green in, but making sure that that is also a little bit separated, as in the bristles. See, I've got a big clump in the middle there. That would just be one big clump of green in one stroke. Okay, and then you can pull another color through. Maybe we can even pull some white through there and just keep building it up. And you're just going to get some awesome wavy texture, a bit more blue maybe. And you just sort of keep building it up, overlapping, and you're just going to get the most interesting. See? And the key is not to, you know, not to let those brush strokes be dominated by too much paint, or, you know, you want each individual stroke to show, because that's what's going to make it interesting. And that's why this brush is quite cool. But you can just keep going and have fun with it, you know. Put some of the darker blue back on. I've overworked this now. But I can get it back by just very lightly putting another color on top. Very lightly putting another color on top. Maybe add some contrast with some green. And just following those curves. Bit of white just to lightly touch in there. And you can just, oh, honestly, you can have so much fun with this brush. It's awesome. But yeah, so there's two. That was just one stroke, boom, and then you can just keep layering it and keep layering it. Whoops, where is it? There. And you can see all the different, if you filled a hole, I mean, it looks a bit rough around the edges, but if you filled a whole bottom of your canvas with just textured waves like that and different colors for contrast, it looks so awesome. Yeah. And then, so the key is to vary the pressure a little bit. So there's thicker and thinner, and it just makes it so much more interesting. Okay, the next one is probably one of my favorites. This one is, you don't really have that much control over where the strokes end up, but the results are amazing. So I'm just thinning my paint a little bit. So this is where I'm going to start with my brush on a side profile. So not the full width. I'm going to start with the brush on my side profile and keep it perpendicular to the canvas. I'm just going to do a light curved stroke. All right, I'm going to turn it this way. All right, and you'll see that all of the bristles kind of work together and apart and create these beautiful textures. And if you layer a few of those on top of each other, so I'm just sort of curving the brush. So if I just do one over here, you'll see that the different wateriness sort of textures you can get just by using the brush on the side, and the bristles kind of stick out each side and create all these interesting, beautiful, interesting textures. But that again is just about playing with different pressure. If you do a nice light pressure, you know, you're going to get some really cool stuff. If you do it a little bit harder, you're going to get a different texture again. And it's just fun. And if you add a little bit of white on top, maybe. Let me just get a little bit of white on top, but not too much. You know, you do another one with white on top, and that makes it even more interesting. You just get all these beautiful textures, and if you layer them, I mean, I've separated them a little bit so that you can see what each stroke looks like. But if you start then layering a few more on top of each other, you know, I've just added a little bit of white in there just to add a few lighter colors, and I'm just sort of stroking these across each other on the vertical using the narrow part of my brush. And you're just going to end up with some beautiful, beautiful, let me add some green in there, beautiful sea texture happening there. All right, so that's fun. I love the effect that has as well. All right, so that's water. Now Leah was asking about cat hair. I'm not going to do cat hair per se, but I'm going to show you how to paint fur. All right, really easy. If you're doing an animal, a lot of people like to paint their pets. You can start with, I don't know, I'm going to have a tabby today, and you just put a bit of paint on your brush and really short little strokes, leave a bit of gap, and you create your fur. Obviously not too even, but you want to create your fur. If you want it a bit darker, you can add a little bit of black, create some darker patches in the black there, and just build your fur up. If you use where did I put the other brush? A synthetic brush, this one here, you'll get much finer fur. So depending on the grade of your brush will depend on how fine the fur is. So I'm just sort of creating patches here of darker and lighter. You want to fill that all in. So there's lighter patches and darker patches now to create a sort of a fur texture. And then maybe I'll add a bit of yellow just to add some, I think we're going for a cheetah maybe. No, not a cheetah. Maybe. Yeah, wildcat. I need some more yellow. I'm having fun. This is great. I'm enjoying painting with you guys today. This is fun. Honestly, this is my favoriteest brush. You can just have so much fun with this brush and get so many amazing. I mean, look at all the different things I'm showing you so far. Okay, so here we have maybe a tiger, maybe a cheetah. But this is okay. Imagine I painted the whole animal. Clearly, I haven't. It would look cooler if I had painted the whole animal. They have more darker patches, don't they? Yeah, more light and dark. So if I painted the whole animal, you'd see it, see what I'm doing here. But this should be enough to give you an idea of fur. A bit more brown, maybe. A few patches of brown. So there you've got what looks like fur, like that. You see? Easy, hey. If you want to do cats, palm tree. Yes, palm tree. I'll get back to the palm tree. Hang on. Remind me in a minute. If you want to do cat hair is a little bit finer, so you just want to use a really light sort of really light touch and just layer it, essentially. Just really lightly layer it. I'm just going to use a few different colors, but really light touch, and you can get some nice fine fur happening. Palm tree. Where's my one with the trees? What to do with my canvas? We can add a palm tree because why not? We've got every other tree. It's a forest of every kind of tree. It's like a botanical garden, isn't it? Palm tree is a nice, easy one. You want to do your stem first. So you want to paint your stem first with another brush. So we'll just, I say stem, I mean trunk. So that's kind of like lots of little curves joined together. I'll show you close up in a second. Lots of little curves. We might add a coconut later. And then with your green, nice and thinned. Now this, I'm going to just paint each one with one sort of stroke. So we just sort of pull it out to the side, and then we do another one. Whoops, that isn't thin enough. Using the very tip of our brush, we can just sort of brush it out to each side. And again, remembering that the last stroke you do is the one that's going to look like it's on top. Okay, so you want to start with the back ones as far as, you know, you do your stroke that way and then pull down to create those fronds. So one this way and then pull down. So similar to what we did here, but not quite as curved, all right? So this is just a really quick palm tree. You can clean it. I'm using a very big fan brush today because I wanted you to be able to see what I'm doing. You'd probably use a smaller one or paint your palm tree bigger. But there you go. And if you want to, you can clean it up with another brush or just use one bristle across the top like that. But that's how you quickly and easily do a palm tree. Yay. But that's very quickly. That's like what, 20-second palm tree. How's that? How's that, Linda? Needs some coconuts, doesn't it? I'll add a coconut. Hold the line, please, call it. Can't have a palm tree without coconuts. There we go. We have a coconut. 2 even. Look at that. Beautiful. Now there's a proper one now. Ta-da. Awesome. Okay, I'm going to put that away again. Oh, yes. I kind of showed you here if you want to, thanks. If you want to paint someone's portrait. Oh, wait, where's my canvas gone? So I kind of showed you before when I was doing the water, it would be a similar texture, but you just use different colors. So you could use a little bit of brown. So if you're painting someone's hair, you use the brush on the side again, so thin side. Linda, it will be available on replay. It's still live right now, but when I'm finished, you can watch this on replay as many times as you like. And at some point, I will add it to my blog as well. So you can watch it there whenever you want as well. So same thing. I'm just going to use the brush on the side and just pull the strokes down, and it creates that lovely hair texture. Add some yellow maybe. I don't know, maybe this person's a bit blonde or maybe a bit of white. And you just keep sort of layering it over top of each other, maybe a curve of hair the other way, making sure that your paint is fluid enough that you're getting some nice strokes, and just sort of keep layering it. Filling it in, but letting those individual brush strokes show. All right, you want those individual strokes to show so that it looks like hair. We make it a bit lighter maybe in here, layering, and the ends can be nice and fluffy. Maybe we'll go a bit darker again, keeping it fluid enough that you're going to get those individual locks of hair, if you like. Maybe a bit of black just to give it a bit of contrast. So this is long hair, obviously. Yeah, but you can have fun with it. Totally have fun with it. Oh, we've gone redhead. I've picked up some red along the way, which is fine. Yeah, I'm enjoying myself. Anyway, so that's kind of hair now. So I've just used the brush on its side and just kind of layered the strokes. It looks like a nice big thick ponytail there, doesn't it? And every color. Okay, feathers. We can use that color for the feather as well. Have I got room left for a feather somewhere? Where can I put my feather? Put it in there. Okay, so a feather would have a central bit. So we start with that. We just, where am I going to put my feather here? Feather, we've got our central bit there. And then we just sort of kind of pull our feather really light strokes into the feather. All right, watching where your brush strokes end up. We can put a bit of white on there, maybe pull a few white, almost the same as our toy, but just really light strokes. And then we want to just create an edge on our feather, because feathers have an edge where all the feathers are stuck together at the end. So you can use this brush, or you can use your little liner brush to do that, watching you're not leaning on anything wet, and just sort of clean up that edge. Feathers have more of a point, don't they? I'll do the other side. Go in the same direction. It occurs to me now that I don't know that intricately what a feather looks like. Just nice light little strokes to mimic those feathery fluffs. And I'm going to add a little bit of contrast in here as well. And on the other side too, a little bit of contrast. Always having a light and a dark color, and adding that contrast in always makes it look a little bit better. So I've done one side a little bit darker than the other, just to show you the different techniques you can use and the different textures you can end up with. So then I'm just going to add my light little finishing line with a liner brush around the outside, like that, and maybe a bit of contrast on the middle bit, just to clean that up a little. And just like that, I have myself a nice easy little feather with two different styles, one on each side. So again, 20 seconds, easy. Linda says, "Oh my, this is gorgeous." Which bit are you looking at? That's gorgeous. I missed that comment. What are you referring to, Linda? Okay, now I want to show you my favoriteest thing to do with this brush, and that is gorgeous curls. Now you can do this for hair as well. If you want to put some curls into your hair, I'm going to do purple this time. But this is where you're changing from, oh, the hair. Oh, yay, cool. The gorgeous hair. Thanks. And you saw how easy it was to do as well. All of these things I'm showing you today are so easy and so fun and get great, great results. So what I'm going to show you now is just gorgeous curls. I almost want a fresh piece because these are I love these curls. Have I got some space left over there? I kind of showed you right at the beginning. But you want your paint to be, you know, nicely controllable, so a little bit thinned. And you start with your brush perpendicular and at a straight angle to your we don't have to start like that, but you start one way, you start, and then you basically flatten out and round it off and come back, and you just get yourself the most beautiful curl. Look at that. Right, I need more space. Oh, I've gone off piece. You can't see that, can you? All right, I'm going to do it over here. Nice, easy curl, and you just give yourself a beautiful curl. You can start the other way if you want. Do the curl first. I'm running out of space. Do the curl first and then into the straight. But honestly, this brush, just have a play with it because it's so much fun. And you can get the most amazing, there's curls everywhere. How I can put another one here. You can get the most amazing textures and techniques. And if you build it up, you can put some other colors in, get a nice curl, and you can add some white at the top and bring it in, and maybe a splash of red down there to really bring it to life. Oh, I can put some red in that one as well. Look at that, beautiful. And a splash of white. Yes, more crimson at the top there. So you can play for hours with these brushes and just curls and twists and waterfalls and water. And I've made a complete mess of this canvas as far as totally unplanned and putting things wherever it fits. Oh yeah, here's a blue swirl I did right at the beginning, so you can see just with a really nice light touch. Just look at the beautiful effects that you can get with that. You know, so much fun. And look, we did trees, we did flowers, we did toys, we did loads of different types of flowers and things as well. So honestly, the possibilities are endless for this brush. You can do so many different types of grass. Let me flick you back. You can do so many different types of grass. I'll move that lamp out of the way so I don't blind you. And there's just loads and loads of things that you can do with these brushes. I encourage you to have fun and just go practice. I've just given you a ton of ideas to practice with. Yes, Linda was asking, is there a replay? Yes, go and watch it many, many times and try a different technique every time. I showed you different techniques using different angles of the brush. So I haven't washed this yet, but you know, when you stipple, just holding the brush like this, you can get some really cool effects. When you angle the brush slightly differently and you do light little dabs, you can get cool effects as well. So I showed you all sorts of different things, even a flat, you know, completely flat to get one flower. I showed you all the different techniques for all the different angles and different pressure, light touches versus long strokes and heavy strokes, and different lengths of strokes as well. Just using your toe or using more of the brush. I showed you how versatile and amazing this brush is and all the different techniques and effects that you can get with this brush. So I do encourage you to go and practice and just try all the different angles. You know, just pick one color and see what happens when you try it at all the different angles. Leah says, I think I'm going to have lots of fun painting this weekend. Yes. That's what I like to hear. Awesome. And of course, you'll be painting blossoms with me this weekend too, I hope. That'll be those behind me. But yeah, have a go. Just try it on different angles and see what effects you get. And then try different pressure. All right. Try different pressure, putting just light touches at each angle and then more pressure at each angle. And try different, strokes. Do really light strokes and do stronger strokes. Try dabs. Try a bit of harder pressure. Different stroke lengths. Short strokes, medium strokes, long strokes, short stipples, long curves. There's so many different things that you can do with these brushes, honestly. And try different amounts of paint on your brush as well. Just using a little bit of paint, you can get some really nice light rain. Using heavier paint and then a little bit of, white on top, you get a really beautiful, simple waterfall. Add some rocks around the sides and a couple of those pine trees, and you've got yourself a Bob Ross painting. Easy as. And have a play with how thin your paint is as far as, getting the different effects as well. If your paint's thinner, you'll get a different effect than when it's thicker. So yeah, I showed you heaps. I showed you trees, I showed you flowers, I showed you how to paint water, rain, waterfalls, loads of different types of flowers and grasses and trees and pine trees and with snow on them. What else? Remember that it's not a brush for large coverage. This is a detail brush. If you want to do a background, use a different brush. This is a detail brush, okay? So put your backgrounds on first. I haven't, obviously, because it's easier for you to see on a white background. But if you've got a nice background in already and then you start painting your trees on, it's going to look even better. And just this, I showed you just how super easy it is to use and how versatile this brush is, how many different things you can do with it, all right? I mean, I just filled 2 canvases, all right, showing you all the different things you can do. This brush, honestly, is such a joy to paint with. You will have so much fun. There's so many different things and effects that you can get with it. But the key thing to remember is to keep them separated. If you know the song, keep your bristles separated. All right. The joy of this brush is the separation of the bristles. I mean, this brush is quite wet now, so they're really clumped together. But when your brush is nice and separated like that, that's when you're going to get some really amazing, that's when you're going to get some really amazing effects and results. I'm dropping things all over the floor now. Excuse me. Oh no, you can see my messy room behind me. I think I've summed that up. I showed you heaps. There's so much you can do with a fan brush, and it's so fun to use. So go and have a practice. Watch this tutorial as many times as you need. Do waves one day, do trees the other day, do flowers the next day. Just have fun experimenting. And like I said, if you don't want to waste a canvas, I paint over mine and reuse them. I've got a blog on that as well, how you can repurpose your canvases. But use a canvas pad, or just paper or cardboard or anything, just to practice on if you want to. So I hope you found that helpful. Thank you for watching and have fun practicing. Yay. If you enjoyed my tutorial, show me some love. Give me some hearts. Sprinkle it. Share it with other people. Tell others about it. And if you're watching on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to my channel so that you can see future tips and tutorials. I do them regularly. And if you would like to learn how to paint a whole painting with me, showing you step by step, head over to my website, heartforart.co.nz. There's loads and loads of easy painting tutorials to choose from there. Lots of bright, fun, colourful ones. There's virtual paint parties. There's studio paint parties. There's on-demand painting tutorials. You can have a ton of fun creating paintings and learn lots of painting techniques and tips just like today. So thank you, Pam. I was looking forward to painting blossoms on Saturday too. Me too. Yay. I cannot wait. There it is right behind me. It's going to be fun. That is a virtual paint party if you want to come and join us. heartforart.co.nz. Thank you everyone for joining me today. I had so much fun sharing my favorite fan brush with you. I hope you enjoyed it too and found it helpful. keep your eyes out for the next episode of Hearty Tips with Silka. Looking forward to painting with you again soon and helping you create beautiful art. All right, have a great rest of your week. Catch you again behind a paintbrush soon. Oh, Dawn says, awesome. Thank you, Silka. I have some painting ideas for Christmas presents. Yes. Awesome. Brilliant. Yay. Good idea. Go paint Christmas presents. Fantastic. Love it, Dawn. Love it. All right. See you all again soon.